Hey everyone, in this Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 tutorial on the Xbox Series X, I'm going to show you the world map. So the world map is pretty cool. It's a bit sort of clunky in some respects, but really nice in other respects. But I'm going to show you how it all works, all these different things, and specifically on the Xbox. So we've got the world here. I've zoomed all the way out. If you want to do that yourself, you hold down L2 on your controller, or if you hold R2, you zoom in. Okay, now the zoom will kind of be dependent on where you've put your little cursor, which I'm moving this big sort of circle with my left stick. So if you move your left stick, it'll move around. And if I sort of put it there, then as I zoom in, it sort of anchors towards that point. So that's one thing to bear in mind. It's not like a central zoom, it's relevant on that point. So I'm left to, right to, zoom in, zoom out. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of moving around. You can also spin around the globe. If I just zoom out so you can see that, using your right stick. So your right stick spins you around the globe, up, down, left, right. Oh, I know my up, down, left and right. That's amazing, isn't it? So hopefully if you've got a clue where things are, you should be able to figure out stuff. Now, what you can probably see on my map is it's horrendous. It's got all of these crazy things and cloud in the way and all sorts of stuff, and it's a little difficult to see, you know, where I am. You know, as I zoom in a bit, it gets a bit clearer. So if I go through the cloud, I can see a bit clearer. But if I didn't know where my country was that I wanted to see in the first place with this cloud cover, that's quite annoying. The good news is you can turn that off. So down the bottom left, you see we've got various different buttons. So the one we're going to look at is filters. So Y to open filters. So press Y. And then you get all of these. So I'm accessing these by moving the right stick up and down. And you can turn things on and off, so we can have a different background map. So we can have IFR, a blend, satellite, and the weather layer, more importantly, clouds, precipitation, or off. So if you, whilst the clouds look very pretty, you can see it's much easier to see where everything is with that off. You can also do things like wind effect and where your friends are and stuff like that. Okay. Now the other thing is you can see I've got loads of stuff on the map here. So let's just jump that off a minute because I can't zoom in until we're there. But look, all this stuff. Particularly if I go into, say, London. I've got all these things. Now what these are landmarks. So you can see they're pointing out stuff. And sometimes that's great, that's what you want to see. But that might confuse you while you're looking at the map. So again, if we open the filters with Y, you can scroll down here. And landmarks, for example, if I turn them off, you can see, aha, much clearer. You've also got the ability to turn on or off various runways. So smaller runways, or big airports. So here's the airports. So if I turn that off, you see just down the bottom left, sort of the left of this box, that's Heathrow. I can also see little planes flying in there, cute. So yeah, you can turn these on or off, and you can see there's all sorts of stuff on here. You can have your cities on or off and nav aids and stuff like that, all in here. So hopefully that helps you out, figure out where things are, or cleans up the interface a little bit for you if you want those. And of course you want to go back in here and turn them back on if you so wish. When you're happy with that, you can either close, or if you've messed it all up, you can see down the bottom left it says X to default, and that turns everything back on. So I've hit X there and then B to close, just so you're seeing hopefully what I'm seeing. Okay, so we've got zoom in, zoom out, rotate around. That's all good. Another thing that you might find useful while you're out here is some sort of explanation what all these icons mean. And if you are away from something and see where it says show legend, so if you press X, it shows you what all these things mean. So you can see Star Airport, new content, blah blah blah. So you go through these and it'll tell you what some of these things actually mean. So you may find that useful as well. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Let's talk about other things you can do on here though, because it's not just look. Oops, I jumped out one. Sorry. And not just the map itself. You can do other things like you can pick your plane that you want to fly with. So this is of course planning your flight. So here I've moved the left stick to the top left, and I've got the icon A5 is the plane that I'm flying. But if I click A, I've got different options for different planes that I've got here. So aircraft selection, liveries, weight and balance, blah blah blah. So I can go in here. I'm using the right stick to move through. So these are the standard planes. So for example, if I wanted this little yellow plane, press the A, and that's now my main aircraft. There's other things you can look at here, like the liveries, the weight, the balance. So I can see how the fuel and stuff is here. Failures, do I want things on or off? customization, blah, blah, blah. So I can put in my own tail number if I want on here, or a call sign, or a flight number if you want to get really geeky with your simulation. But that's there. You've then got the ability to set a from and a to location here. So if you select A here, you'll see previous history. You'll also see recommended airports. So this is a quick way of finding a particular airport that you want to access. So we've got that there. You can also, once you've picked an airport, if you pick one, let's just pick one just for example. Let's go for Sydney International. The map will then zoom off and find that airport for you, like so. And it will default to a runway, but you're free to pick a different area of the airport if you wish. My word, there's lots of parking locations here, so I could say I want to start from there. And if I zoom out a little bit, I think it's that little green location. There you go. E-ramp 34 parking, or I could go here and it updates there. You can then also select a arrival airport. So I could say we're going to go off to, I don't know, Queenstown, and it will show me this route here between them and give me a rough idea how long this is going to take. So I can see it's 1,056 nautical miles. That's going to take a while, but we can do that if we so wish. So that's, and again, you've got the ability to pick the runway here. Now, while we're doing this, we can also pick a further adjustment if we wanted to sort of fly off piece. So that's of course showing as the crow flies, but if you wanted to, for example, go via over here, we could press A and hit it a double time, and you can either change the departure or arrival to this area or add. And if you add, you can see now the flight path will go from here to here to here, and gives us a more complicated flight path, but gives us maybe more interest. I could do the same and say I want to fly over here. So again, double A and then add, and I've got this flight path all done. Now from this point, you could either then go and hit fly and away you go, or, so you see down the bottom here, we've got the kind of little views icon here on the Xbox. Remember, I'm on the Xbox Series X, but if you're on a different platform, this will show different. But if I hit that little button there, oops, I've got this option to load/save. And if I hit it again, I could either load a flight file or save it. So if I save this flight would then be accessible in the same screen as a load button for the future. So if you want to save a particular flight pass, maybe you make a complicated one, you can do it there. So a couple of other things that we want to talk about before we do this though. So you can see I'm in the dark with this flight that I've come up with here. Because we're on the other side of the globe, it's daytime where I am, but not quite so the case in Australia. So you may want to fly in the evening, or you may not. If you want to change the time though, you can do it with this time slider here. So hover over it, right stick, drag it across, and you can pick a time that works well in that area. So that's now nice and light. So my flight would now be in daylight. It's all good. The other thing that we can change as well are the flight conditions. So if you have a little look here, I can change the weather and the time. So I could have live weather, or I could have clear sky, scattered, all these sort of things. I can even have rain, snow, oh my word, or a storm. And you can pick a particular day of the year if you want. Use a preset, create your own custom ones. You can have live traffic control, you can have things off, multiplayer, blah, blah, blah. All sorts of stuff. So that's all in there as well. You've also got your little nav log here that will show you the plan of how to get out of here and where you should be throughout the flight point, and it gives you that information as well. I think that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in this world map tutorial. I think we've covered everything. I suppose the one minor thing that we haven't done is this little search bar, which I find it isn't quite as useful as you would like sometimes, but some things it may pick up. So if we try, for example, London, it gives us various airports, and that's the main thing it's going by. So I could go by this main airport here, then I'm in London, then L2 to zoom out. Of course, London's into darkness now, so that's not very useful. So let's move this up a little bit. Because my time zone is set to Australia now, because that's where my current flight path is. But that's the way we can use the search tool here. You can also use coordinates that you can get from Google Maps or other map tools, and you can paste them in. However, I cannot find a way of pasting with the controller. So I'm not sure whether it works with a keyboard or not, but normally to copy and paste you hit your menu icon, which is that icon there. I can copy from Maps on Google Edge, Google Maps on Edge, but when I hit that icon here, it just quits the menu. So I'm not sure whether you can get around it with a keyboard. If anyone can let me know in the comments, that'd be great. Is it worth plugging in a USB keyboard to put in the coordinates? But that's a way of finding somewhere very specific with coordinates, so it will pick those up if you put them in. That was it really. So once you've passed that point, once you've set your flight path and you're ready to go, you just hit fly and away you go. I hope that was useful to you. If it was, give us a thumbs up please, that's much appreciated. Anything else that's confusing you about Microsoft Flight Simulator, do let me know in the comments, and if I know, I'll try and help you with the tutorial. And thanks very much for watching.